Smart Reporter. Hello everyone, we have arrived at the last nugget in this particular R70 CCSE update series, and that is our Smart Reporter application. I want to say thank you for everyone for reviewing this series and learning everything that you need to know to get yourself updated for the R70 CCSE. In this particular nugget, we are going to look at our actual GUI reporter config information. We're going to see exactly what we need to do inside of the Checkpoint Smart Reporter or the Adventure Reporter application GUI to get everything configured for our consolidation sessions, as well as to make sure that we can set up particular schedules, delivery methods, email options, all that type of information we will see inside of this particular nugget. We will also review some report settings on how we can schedule these particular settings to run individual reports or security reports throughout the day or at night, or to deliver those actual reports to your management or an outside auditing firm. So let's continue on and see exactly how we want to configure our Smart Reporter application. Hello everyone, let's discuss setting up Adventure Reporter on R70. Now on our previous nugget we installed our combination Smart Event or Smart Reporter box using the IP of 10.20.1.30. In this particular nugget, what we are going to do is we're going to log in and then we're going to configure the Adventure Reporter or the Smart Reporter product for R70 in order to allow us to produce some accurate reports of some security details that would be going on inside of our Nugget Lab company. So the first thing we're going to do here is actually log into the management server and just to check a couple things out, make sure all of our objects look the way that we want them to. So let's go ahead and log in there. Now, the first time that we log into the Adventure Reporter, we're going to get a few messages, and sometimes it'll tell you that, certain parameters or like your clock or your time need to be adjusted. And the best way to handle that situation is just to make sure that you have the network time protocol configured and you have an NTP server somewhere on your network or on the internet that you can get accurate time from, because it's very key to make sure your security details as well as your reports and your security logs are dead on and with the time of the day. So this looks pretty good here. Let's expand Checkpoint and we can see that we have our information the way we want it for our Nugget Smart machine. So let's go ahead and select Window, and then we're going to select our actual Adventure Reporter here, and this should actually prompt us with a GUI login. And we should be able just to enter our credentials here. And again, we're logging into 10.20.1.30. And we're going to go ahead and connect to the server. And it's loading data, loading objects, loading reports. And this should just take a second for it to load up for you the first time. Now, one thing to remember with R70, the overall structure you see here is a little bit different. And it's just like the Smart Dashboard, and that's just a basic change in the GUI behavior between the R65 and the R70. But we've pretty much already discussed the GUI layout in the R70 CCSA update. But let's go ahead and configure things for Adventure Reporter at this point. So the first thing that we want to do is to check out a few tabs here. Under File, we have pretty much the same tabs like we had in R65. We can save all custom reports, we can update reports, we can exit. And under View, we see our options here for management, expand a subject or collapse a subject. Under Actions, we can delete a action. If we have a certain option chose, we can delete it there. We can enable our warning dialogues. We can restore our default settings. We can perform a license registration, and we have some options here. So let's check out options. This is something we're going to need. Now, the general location where our reports will be saved to on this box is in this location. So that's something you may want to remember is in the var ops cp report-r70/results directories where we're going to keep our reports. And basically the format information is pretty standard here with the canonical name, the OU, and the object name. Now under distribution, we can see that it has a distribution timeout of 300 seconds by default, and that's fine. Now the next thing that we see here is our actual mail information. Now this is pretty key, and you want to make sure you fill all this information out. with your email address, your outgoing mail server, and your sending's email address, and any kind of specific severities you want to assign to those emails, you can adjust that right here. So if you're doing managed security for someone, or you're just sending reports to managers in your company, it's a good idea to have the accurate information right here so you can automatically email your reports from Eventia Reporter to those people in your business units or your customers that are concerned with the overall security structure that you're managing for them. Now, under web information, we can see that we have the option where we can do a CGI script is needed for HTTP upload. So if we want to upload this to your company's portal, or maybe your IT department or security department has their own website portal where you can upload information, you can do that directly from Eventia Reporter. So that's a pretty cool option. We have a cover page option if we want to apply your company logo and directly send those reports out with your company logo on it. We can do this. Under activity log, we have some options here, and it says where the default for the activity log size is 100, and we can report output delete method. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to select how report output deletion is performed. We can delete the report output, we can clear from list, and it says leaves report output on the server, but it'll take it out of the actual list. So under sort parameters, we can sort it by connections or by bytes. I do recommend doing it on connections. So that's pretty much what we want to see under options. So let's go ahead and close off of here for now. And what we need to do at this point was we need to basically set up our management side. So under management here, first thing we have to get in place is our consolidation engine or our consolidation session. So what we need to do is go ahead and create a new one. And it's going to ask us, where's your log server? Who gets your logs? And in this environment, it's actually our management server. So 10.20.1.20. We'll select next. And we can select our default log files and databases. That's perfectly fine for this consolidation session. Go ahead and select finish. And what we're going to see is perfectly normal. It's going to go to a NA status, and then it'll go to a starting status, and then it'll say pretty much doing processing logs. And processing logs is essentially what you want. That's how you know it's healthy, it's running the way it should be. And for Eventia Reporter, it should always show processing logs when it's working the way it should be. So now that that's running, I do recommend giving it about a 24-hour period before you can actually get some really good data out of your Eventia Reporter or your Smart Reporter product, because basically it's going to take that long for it to correlate the logs and to be able to get really good information synced up from your checkpoint management server into this particular box. Now we have a few options here. So we have our actual consolidation session running, so we're good. Now under database maintenance, let's run through a few things. Now under maintenance here, it's a good idea just to check a few things out. And it says database automatic maintenance deletes and removes records to reach recommended database capacity. And you can basically turn this on to participate in automatic database management. I recommend turning this on because there's some situations where you could fill up the database and ultimately crash or corrupt your box, and it's not something you really want to do. So we can see our actual database capacity here is about 9.5 gigs is what we have available for the reporting function of this particular box. Now we can change the database password here if we wanted to. We can import different options here for database tables, or we can export, or we can remove specific tables for our database. So good information to know. Check this out. Make sure you know what each of these parameters are indicating here. Now under activity queue, it's basically going to show you pretty much any activity that you perform. If you generate a report or save a report, delete a report, email a report, it'll all be listed under our activity queue here. And our activity log, as we can see, it pretty much shows us exactly what we would expect to see. It's pretty much a log of all actions that are going to take place inside of Eventia Reporter, and it gives you a nice window just to see exactly how things are running. And it'll tell you that it's finished successfully, or there was no relevant data found, or any of that information that you would typically expect at that point. So now under reports, this is where we can look at a few things. we have the option of some standard reports or some express reports. Now, the standard reports are what we are going to generate based on our consolidation session from our Nugget management server or your log server, wherever you're getting your checkpoint logs from. That's where we're going to build that information from. Express reports are something that are typically pulled directly from your SmartView Monitor application, and those are pretty much synced over from your management server. Now, under custom here, we have my reports. Now, my reports is just a detailed by default, but you can change these up. If you want hourly detailed events, we can turn that option on as well. We can do daily detailed events, weekly or monthly. And we have some additional predefined reports here for regulatory compliance, content inspections, Interspect, Firewall 1GX, event management, endpoint security. So if you're using some of Checkpoint's endpoint products, you can do reporting on that, as well as the antivirus, SSL, VPN, IPsec, Firewall Blade activity, Firewall Blade security, IPS, cross-blade network activity. So if we see approved traffic, web traffic, or a list of approved traffic, we can process on all that information. And we also have a cross-blade security. So what we're going to look at here, we're just going to do a very basic firewall blade security. So we're going to look at block connections. And under block connections here, we can actually set up a few things. So under content, we can say we want to see our top block sources, and their services. We're going to go ahead and turn on everything here. So let's do that at this point, just to have a nice option where we're going to report on everything. Now, the period we want to look for, you can obviously change this, but we're going to look for the last week here. Under input, we can say a summary of all gateways. We can do it per gateway, or we can do some other information. If we want to generate a report from the database table, we can do this right here from connections. That's exactly what we want. Now, under filter, we can take out anything, any source, any destination, any URL, and you can basically set up any of these common filters that you want to do. Maybe you need to report on a specific host or a specific destination. You can set this information up here and filter it out, whatever is best for you. Now, under schedule, we can set this up if we want to add it and tell it that daily we want to generate it every day at, let's say, 23:05 for the server time. Start time will be today's date and no end date. We can click OK on that. And that's pretty much what we want. The schedule only after report is saved, and it's basically telling us that our expired schedules will not be saved. And that's fine. You can just say, don't show that to me again, close that. And as we can see, we have a daily report here that's going to generate. So under our output, we have the option for HTML, or if we want to actually do an email, an FTP upload, a web upload, or a custom option, we can set all these informations up pretty much here. And so under our sample here, we'll see exactly what one of those reports would look like. It's our block connection report. And what we can see is that we would see our top block sources and their services, our top blocked internal sources, and pretty much down the list. You see the options there. Now, this is a good report that I like to run a few times a day. Just automatically let it kick off maybe twice a day on your network, just so you get a nice little email saying that, maybe these are some of my top attackers, and if someone's ramping up an attack and continuously hitting your network, it's a good idea to go ahead and report on that without you having to dive into SmartView Tracker and be able to dig through thousands and thousands of log records. So it's a good option to go ahead and generate this. I like to do it twice a day in most environments where you have a significant amount of traffic, where your connection table is anywhere between 25 and 50 to 100,000 connections per hour or so. It's a good idea to go ahead and get some reporting sent to you. And I like to do twice a day. You can do once a day if you want. But for me, I just like to keep an eye on things without having to dig all the way through the SmartView Tracker log. So that's pretty much everything that we have configured here for our Smart Reporter or our Venture Reporter. So we have some options where we can generate some different reports. So let's take a look at that. Let's say for our weekly detailed reports. Now we have this right here. If we want to generate this particular report, we can say schedule for certain options as well. And let's just go ahead and try to generate and see what we get. And it says this request was sent to the server. The report generation can be monitored through the results subject in this view. So what we can do at this point is basically let it run its report, and when it's successfully finished, and it'll ask us, do we want to display the results? We can say yes to this. And what it's going to do is basically show us the HTML document that contains our report. So we see exactly what we're looking for. And we can see our weekly detailed events report. We can fully scroll down on this, and we can see any type of connections, policy installations, top sources and their top events, and pretty much all the basic information. I don't have a whole lot showing here, but you pretty much get the idea of what these reports can do for you. It's just a real easy, real quick way of keeping tabs on your checkpoint environment, and for you to be able to show some actual, I guess, proof that your checkpoint security solution is taking care of business for your company. And it's a good idea. Some management like to see reports on a daily basis, and this product gives you exactly what you want to be able to show the Aventia Reporter product for what it is. So I hope you saw some different options there that looked really cool for you, and you can see how you would directly apply this product in your own environment. Like I said, go ahead and install this product, get it up and running either in a combination or a standalone install. You can have about 3 options you can do there with your install. If you want to be on your management server or an individual Aventia Analyzer server and an individual Aventia Reporter server, you have that option as well. So any way you want to configure it, the product's going to work out great for you, and I'm sure you can see how easy it is to get it up and running and how easy it is just to get everything configured. So check out Aventia Reporter, or Smart Reporter as it's commonly known in some of the R70 documentation, and I think you're really going to love the product. Hello everyone, are we ready to report on all the security details that would involve our environment, and to be able to produce the things that we want to see on a daily basis to make sure that no one's trying to basically hack our environments? And that's one of the powers that we saw in this particular nugget using the Smart Reporter or the Aventia Reporter application. We saw our actual GUI reporter config information, how we had to set up our consolidation sessions, set up some options, and we can set up some email options as well, and some different basic settings on the database and stuff that we need to have in place to have a healthy running actual Aventia Reporter or Smart Reporter application. Then we actually dived in and we ran through the review of some report settings, generated some reports, and saw exactly how that information would be displayed in an HTML format. And we could also improve the overall visibility of the reports by including our checkpoint settings, as well as any of our company logos or anything that we want to give to our management team. We saw that inside of our Smart Reporter application. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.